What's up, everyone? I'm Jenny.
And I'm Jessie.
You're listening to Milkshakes and Ghosts.
This episode is brought to you by
Sinister Brew Coffee isn't your ordinary cup of joe. It's a bold, horror-themed, small-batch coffee company owned by veterans who dare to take your taste buds on a dark and delicious journey.
From cosmic creations to cryptid-inspired blends, every roast comes with a sinister twist. Handcrafted for those who crave something truly unique.
It's not just coffee. It's an experience steeped in mystery, macabre storytelling, and flavors that are to die for.
Dare to sip in the shadows and join the Sinister family at sinisterbrewcoffee.com.
Where every cup reminds you that the darkness is delicious.
I'm on a sugar rush.
I bet you are with all the sugar you've consumed today. OMG. This is ridiculous.
What if I bring even more snacks tomorrow?
You're fired.
You can't fire me. I'm the star of the show.
I'll fire Jack. Jack just looked at me. I'm sorry.
Oh, Jack, leave him alone. I'm gonna throw a chunkle at you.
Dude, I'm playing. You're not fired. Jack, we adore you.
Oh, Jack, she called you dude.
He's a dude. Right, dude? Jack was just like, I'm a homie.
Get out. Get out. Anyway, it's a great day. We're snacking in the pod lab, and we're about to talk about my favorite thing.
Oh, I'm loving it. Besides all the cookies, gummies, and cotton candy that you have currently consumed today, which is really scary because you are all sugared up, your eyes look wired. So, what's in your cup? Again, I'm scared to ask. I'm always scared to ask what's in your cup.
Since we're in March, I wanted to make something that felt like a taste of Easter.
Okay, so what does Easter taste like?
It tastes like Peeps.
What? What's a peep?
You know what Peep is? It's like a little marshmallow and they're shaped of little birds or like bunnies. And it's called Peeps. They come in all flavors. There's like sugar on them.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I know what you're talking about. Didn't we get the Dr. Pepper flavor Peeps at the store?
Yeah, for mostly my brother. He ate them all.
Yeah, your brother loves Dr. Pepper. I swear, every time I blink, I see more sweets appearing around you. What in earth is going on here?
Well, that's because I'm such a sweet person, and I have a little secret snack stash in the pod lab. You're not gonna find it.
I keep looking around, like, where are all the snacks being hidden? Because I know you're pulling them out from somewhere. I just can't figure it out. And you're talking about you're a sweet person. You're more like a hyper person. With the amount of sugar you've already had, I don't know how I'm going to put up with you the rest of the day.
Yeah, I know I'm a hyper person. I'm hype. Like, I'm so outgoing and exciting.
Okay, happy hyper person. Got it. So besides the obvious Peeps that's in your cup already, what else is in there?
I went to a website called sharedappetite.com and found this really delicious recipe for a toasted marshmallow Easter Peep milkshake. It's a simple and fun recipe. Just 5 scoops of vanilla ice cream, some milk, and about 10 Peeps with whipped cream and sprinkles and some more Peeps for toppings.
That sounds like a disaster waiting to happen later on. I feel so bad for your tummy right now.
I mean, it's really good, but like, of course, I use all dairy-free products like I always do. But the recipe does not require it, y'all. So like, I just prefer dairy-free things, okay? I will link the full recipe in our show notes for anyone who's interested in trying it. And if you're a parent or grandparent, I recommend this milkshake if you have any kids. It's a really fun milkshake in celebration of Easter.
That's a really good idea. I'm glad you're sharing this with everyone since we are in March. It does sound like a fun recipe in celebration of Easter. I would have definitely did this with you if you hadn't found it yourself. Too late now, I guess, since you've already brought it in the pod lab and found the recipe yourself. But I'm sure you and I can find other Easter recipes that we can create together for milkshakes. It'll be fun.
So, what you drinking today?
I'm drinking a Cadbury egg milkshake.
You better not tell me there's raw eggs in there. I'm sorry, but just like...
No, of course there's not raw eggs in there. Gosh. Just because I'm from the 1900s doesn't mean that I still drink raw eggs, because that was a big thing back in the 80s.
Still?
No, I don't do that. I've never done that, but I've seen a lot of people do that back in the 80s in their smoothies because they thought it was like a good protein shake required raw eggs. It was disgusting.
Ew. I'm pretty sure it's nasty, especially if it has eggs still.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, especially raw eggs, that would cause poisoning into your tummy. You're not supposed to eat that. But people didn't know that back then. Anyways, my milkshake does not have real eggs in it. Cadbury eggs are candy. It doesn't have real eggs in it, okay? Cadbury eggs are just candy. It's usually only available around Easter time, so like now. It's like a thick chocolate shell with white filling inside. It's pretty good.
Are you copying me and trying to have an Easter milkshake as well?
Huh? Well, technically, I woke up before you this morning and made my milkshake first, so it's you who's copying me, okay?
I found this recipe a week ago.
Okay, I found my recipe this morning.
So who copying who?
Anyways, I got my milkshake recipe from we'renotmartha.com. I will link it in the show notes for anyone else who's interested in making it.
Of course you're not Martha. Who's Martha?
I'm assuming Martha Stewart when I read that, but obviously they're not Martha, so.
I love Martha Stewart. Anyways, your milkshake good.
It's okay. I think that for me it's just a little too sweet, but it's not gross or anything. It's just vanilla ice cream, silk coconut milk, Cadbury mini eggs, caramel sauce, chocolate sauce, Cadbury cream eggs, and sprinkles. Honestly, right now, Jessie, I would prefer a cup of coffee. I need coffee right now.
My milkshake is better, so everyone listening, go make my milkshake right now. Right now. Come on, I'm waiting.
Well, I have something even better than either one of our milkshakes today.
Aw, shucks, is it me?
No. I love you, and you're great and all, but I have a really cool story to talk about.
Okay, fine. What is it then? Ugh.
Well, I have something even better than either one of our milkshakes.
What's that?
What we're going to be talking about. The Enfield haunting.
This case is super creepy. So grab onto your milkshakes and hold on to your blinky. Be wary, it's about to get scary.
This episode is brought to you by
Embrace the enchanting darkness with wicked Salem candles. Spooky, yet delightfully scented. Discover non-toxic, aromatic, long-lasting, clean burn, eco-friendly soy candles in bewitching scents and vibrant colors.
Wicked Salem Candles is a healthy alternative for people with allergies or respiratory issues, while also being environmentally friendly due to the renewable nature of soy wax.
With these candles, you're not just illuminating your space with a steady glow, you're protecting the environment. These candles are safer and environmentally friendly since they release fewer harmful chemicals into the air when burned.
Do you like getting candles with a longer burn time? Well, with Wicked Salem Candles, you'll get just that. These soy candles provide a consistent, unwavering flame, crafted for a lasting brilliance.
Wicked Salem candles are more than just candles. They offer a curated collection of spooky treasures. Discover bewitching room sprays, hauntingly beautiful art decor, and spellbinding accessories.
Whether you're preparing for Halloween, celebrating the fall season, or simply love a touch of the macabre, Wicked Salem Candles has something for you. Enjoy a touch of spookiness all year round.
Affordable, yet aromatic, long-lasting, environmental, friendly scents. If you're ready to illuminate your path the Wicked Salem way, visit wickedsalemscandle.com. Wicked Salem Candles, so good it's scary. What began as a parlor game soon descended into a terrifying siege, a spectral invasion that threatened to continue their very souls.
The Enfield House began as a normal semi-detached council house at 234 Green Street in Brimsdown, North London. What began as a mundane dwelling became a gateway to something unspeakable when the Hodgson family crossed its threshold. The year was 1977. Mom? 19? You were back around then. Did you meet them or something? Like, weren't you?
Girl, don't you start with me, Jessie.
I'm gonna start with you, 1900s girl.
I'm turning off the mic.
Anyways, so the year was 1977. The Hodgson family moved into the Enfield house. The family consisted of Peggy Hodgson and her 4 kids. Her daughter Margaret, age 13, Janet, age 11, Johnny, age 10, and Billy, age 7. This was not a happy time for the Hodgson family. Peggy Hodgson was divorced. The children's father abandoned them, and Peggy was left struggling in poverty. Billy, the youngest son, was sent away to boarding school for behavioral problems.
That's so sad. Shame on their father.
We gotta put the L sign up for him.
He abandoned his family. He really is a loser. No doubt about that.
He sure is. So before the Hodgson family could even settle into their new home, something else had already settled in with them.
It all began on August 30th, 1977. On that night, the air grew thick. A simple game had ripped a seam in the ordinary. Sisters Margaret and Janet had decided to play with the Ouija board. Later, as the girls prepared for sleep, a tremor seized their beds. Violent, unnatural shaking begun. Their childish cries, "The beds are moving," were met with their mother's disbelief. Peggy assumed it was a childish prank. Little did she know this unseen visitor, this entity, would become known as the Enfield Poltergeist.
And just see, this is a lesson to all parents out there. This is a problem most parents out here. You gotta believe your kids.
And by most parents, I know you don't mean me.
Or do. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't mean you. You would believe me.
Of course I would. There's nothing I wouldn't believe that comes out of your mouth, especially when it comes to ghosts.
Exactly my point. But most parents don't believe anything their children says.
They sure don't.
If you're a parent and have kids, listen to your kids, man. If your kid says there is a monster in the closet or under their bed, you need to get them out of that room.
I agree with you 100% on that one. Children are more sensitive to the paranormal. So parents, if you're listening to our show and your child is telling you, "Mom, Dad, hey, there's a monster in my closet or a monster under my bed," take a look, listen to them, get them out the room, because there probably is something there.
Yeah, just have them sleep with you.
So, the next night, Peggy, their mother, heard screaming and banging coming from their room after they had gone to bed. When she went in, a heavy chest of drawers was sliding by itself across the floor, trying to block the doorway. The girls were frightened. Peggy pushed the chest back against the wall, but it slid towards her again. The force was sudden and immense. Her strength could not match the strength of this invisible entity. Over the next few weeks, more furniture moved on its own accord. Plates, spoons, forks, knives, toys, and books would go flying on their own.
Not the knives!
Run, man, run! So, one night, things were so bad, Peggy called the police. When the police arrived, they witnessed a sitting room chair lift off the carpet and move towards them.
Don't get in that chair.
What if you're tired and you want to sit down? What if the police officers are tired and they just want to sit down for a second?
The chair's gonna be thrown across the room and you'll knock out by yourself. Don't worry, the entity will help you. It'll knock you out.
I mean, hey, they might be like Superman and fly through the air for a second. That'd be kind of fun.
Bye-bye, you're going to heaven now.
You know that I'd be curious enough to sit on the chair. I'd want to fly. If the chair is flying, I want to feel what flying feels like.
If I was that officer, I'm losing my job. Guns cannot fight a ghost.
Ain't that the truth? So, one of the officers, WPC Carolyn Heaps, later reported, and this is a quote, "It came to rest after about 4 feet.
Is she talking about the chair that lifted off the carpet?
Yes, she is, Jessie. The officer continues to say, I checked it for hidden wires or any other means by which it could have moved, but there was nothing to explain it.
Peggy continued searching for help. She's a mom and probably is extremely desperate trying to protect her children. I know you do the same thing, but why don't you just move and burn the house down? Easy.
Not everybody can just move and burn a house down, Jessie.
Well, technically you can get a hotel for a while.
A lot of people can't afford it due to the fact that they have bills to pay and home expenses. Not to mention Peggy is a single mother with 4 children.
Homeless shelter.
No, man, I would stick it through. I mean, we've done this before, you and I, with haunted homes, especially me. I mean, I'm a lot older than you, obviously, and I've lived in a lot of haunted houses, and I've gone through a lot worse.
Yeah, you're way older than me. Way older.
Ha, Jessie.
Oh, yeah. Also, I forgot to tell you guys. So basically, most of you guys already know, but we had to call pastor and literally get a house blessing because our house was literally haunted for a while.
Yeah, that's right. And things have kind of died down except for the haunted doll now living in our house that we need to get rid of. But that's a whole nother story. So, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, check out our videos that we posted on YouTube regarding a recent situation we went through. We had some paranormal events occur in our home after someone was unalived in back of our house. It got so bad that we had to get a pastor involved to bless our home.
I'm glad we got a pastor and blessed our home because you were literally getting the worst of it. I would just hear things, but you were getting physically attacked. Yeah, if you guys want a creepy old doll, please email us. We want to get rid of this. It's an old Marilyn Monroe doll. It's a good size. If any of you are doll collectors or something, that'd be pretty cool to add to your collection. Along with a couple of spirits that are attached to it. But it's okay. It's okay.
Enough with our hauntings. Let's get back into the Enfield haunting.
Back to the Enfield haunting. Eventually, their case reached the ears of Scientifically Respected Society for Physical Research, who sent 2 members, Guy Lynn Playfair, the Cambridge-educated author of several books about psychic phenomena, and businessman Maurice Gross to investigate. Playfair explains, I went in a few weeks after the trouble started. I had an open mind and looked for a logical explanation. I soon found out there wasn't one. Oh my gosh. Eee! His first experience of the Enfield Poltergeist was when a marble appeared from nowhere and dropped like a stone at his feet on the linoleum floor. Over the next 14 months, he would visit the house on almost 120 occasions. Sometimes the ghost would be quiet, but on many others, it would be violently chaotic. Crazy. A newspaper reporter had a Lego brick thrown at him by an unseen force, as so did newspaper photographer Graham Morris. Graham had already had a block hurled at him. Even more puzzling, the blocks were hot.
Imagine getting hot Legos thrown at you. Just picture that for a second.
There's also reports of the family's wall cabinet smashing to the floor. However, the mounting screws were still in place.
That would be hard to find logic from. And I'm a very logical person, as most of you know.
Yeah, how do you explain something crashing to the ground with the screws still being attached to the wall it fell from?
That's really compelling evidence that there's definitely something supernatural attacking their home.
An oppressive fear hung heavy in the house, a tangible presence that showed itself to every visitor. It wasn't just the unsettling disturbances, furniture shifting, drawers emptying, the unnerving flicker of lit matches, or the sudden icy spray of water. It was the atmosphere itself. Driven by the unseen force, the Hodgson family huddled, gripped by a terror that seemed to seep from the very wall.
I think it's odd that the entity seemed to center itself around the younger girl, Janet.
Yeah, in every article I read, it all said the same thing. The spirit did focus its attention on Janet, who was 11 years old at the time.
Janet really did get the worst of it. She was sent into the air, levitating above her bed.
Janet had so many things happen to her. I read she was sent to violent trances and sometimes spoke in a rasping male voice. I would just throw away the whole child.
I know you would throw away the whole child if it was you. Many of the 1,500 psychic occurrences there were not only independently witnessed, but are verified by investigators, photographs, and audio tape. Other unusual events that took place in the house included cold drafts, graffiti, water puddles appearing from nowhere, bad smells, and chairs and tables moving on their own accord.
I feel like the cold drafts can be explained, especially if they're living in an older home.
Jesse, I agree with you. That was actually really smart that you said that, because a lot of homes, especially older ones, are not insulated well. So that makes perfect sense.
And who knows, maybe the graffiti were done by the children when no one was looking.
That's a possibility. I mean, who's to say?
And maybe the water puddles were the children peeing on the floor.
Jesse, they're not dogs, my gosh.
Or are they skinwalkers turning into humans? Maybe they're dogs turning to humans, I don't know.
That's a whole nother topic.
But like sometimes little kids could act up and maybe the bad smells or them passing gas.
Oh gosh. All right, well, what about the tables and chairs moving on their own?
Okay, I don't have an explanation for that.
Some witnesses reported physical assaults, matches bursting into flame, and fleeting glimpses of different apparitions, including an old woman and a man. Spookiest of all, an imprint of a body would be found on one of the beds, as if someone had been sleeping there. Peggy would straighten the sheets, only to find the shape back again later. On another night, with the investigator present, slow rapping echoed from the girls' bedroom above. They rushed upstairs, finding nothing. A few nights later, Guy Playfair heard a tremendous vibrating noise coming from the same empty room. It was as if someone was drilling a great big hole, he reported. He went to find the fireplace torn out from the wall, where it had been cemented in.
That's crazy.
This is a quote from Guy Playfair. It was one of those old Victorian cast iron fires that must have weighed 60 pounds. The children couldn't have ripped it out of the wall, but in any case, they weren't there.
That's so creepy. There was another occasion with all the children in bed. The other SPR investigator, Maurice Gross, was downstairs complying notes when he heard Janet screaming. He ran to see her being dragged out of her room by an unseen force. She was then hauled down the stairs and dumped at his feet. Like so many of the ghostly incidents, it was recorded on audio tape, and like some were even caught by a remote camera set up by Graham Morris.
As paranormal explorers, you and I know how hard it is to get a ghost on camera or audio.
Facts, it could take hours, days, even weeks just to capture anything. Although these investigators captured proof of the Enfield Poltergeist, it was a difficult journey. For example, Morris would set up his expensive equipment with flash guns powered by freshly charged batteries, only to find them quickly draining. Tape recording was often difficult too.
It seems that's the one thing to always malfunction during a paranormal investigation. It's always the equipment. Batteries drain, things just stop working. Ghosts definitely don't like being captured on audio or film. We personally know that.
Yeah, these investigators were just lucky because they captured pictures of Janet being levitated off the bed.
Our assistant Jack was showing me those photos this morning. It was insane.
Aren't they creepy?
They really are.
There's also photos of curtains twisting themselves into a spiral, pillows being thrown, and sheets being pulled off the sleeping children. Janet would say that she had somehow drifted through the wall into the house next door. Not literally, but spiritually. This is a quote from Janet. I can tell you exactly what I saw, she said as she described where various objects in the home were situated. Upon checking with the neighbors, it was confirmed that everything in their bedroom was placed just as Janet had described.
That really does sound like Janet astral projected in her sleep.
That's what I was thinking too when I read this. On another occasion, two passerbys witnessed Janet spinning erratically against a first floor window. while sofa cushion appeared on the roof. I don't know how, don't ask.
If that were us, we would have got a notification from our HOA, and I'm probably sure we would have got a fine too.
That's so true. Well, things took a even more serious turn when Janet began to lapse into violent trances, swearing and hurling insults and disembodied voices. This quote is from Playfair. This thing never seemed to know who it was. It would claim to be all different people speaking many different voices, and much of what it said through her was nonsense. It was as if Janet was being taken over. End of quote.
I feel bad for what's happening to Janet, but I feel even worse for her mom.
But Janet is getting all the bad stuff from this entity.
I know, but I'm just looking at it from a mom's point of view. You're my daughter, and I can't imagine seeing you go through something like this. That's gotta feel you're so helpless as a mom, that is. I can't imagine. You see your child suffering and you can't do anything to make it better. For me, that seems worse than the possession itself.
Well, things are not going to get better. They'll only get worse.
I hate knowing that.
One night, an eerie message seeped out of Janet's lips. It was loud and clear. "My name is Bill," the raspy voice said. "Just before I died, I went blind and then had a hemorrhage. I fell asleep and died in the chair in the corner downstairs."
Maybe you were right in the beginning.
I told you, just throw away the whole kid. Like,
Maybe. I mean, this is really scary.
Well, it was even more scary to the Hodgson's family. And none of what Janet said meant anything to them or made any sense. The neighbors didn't even know what Janet was talking about. But when the tape was played on the radio, a man got in touch to say he recognized his father's voice. His name was Bill Wilkins, the man said, confirming his father had lived at the Hodgson's house many years earlier before Janet was born, and he had died exactly as described.
This episode is brought to you by...
Tired of the same old coffee routine? Craving a cup of paradise? Introducing Kona Coffee House LV. Bring the magic of Kona Coffee straight to you, wherever you are.
Kona Coffee House LV uses only the finest 100% organic Hawaiian Kona coffee beans, made by perfection by Sammy Scrumptious herself. These gluten-free and preservative-free beans are a rare specialty, offering a unique and unforgettable taste experience.
No need to wait in line. Kona Coffee House LV is mobile, delivering a taste of paradise. Book Kona Coffee today for corporate events, parties, venues, and so much more.
Follow Kona Coffee on Instagram at Kona Coffee House LV for updates on upcoming events. Visit their website at KonaCoPale.com to learn more and schedule your Kona Coffee experience today. Don't miss out on this exclusive opportunity to savor the world's finest coffee. Let's fast forward to more current times. Playfair is now 80 years of age. He wrote a book about the Enfield Poltergeist. The title to that book is This House is Haunted, which became a bestseller. Maurice Grosse, who died in 2006, had only become interested in the paranormal the previous year after his journalist daughter, also called Janet, had been killed in a motorcycle accident and the family began to experience psychic happenings.
That's really sad.
He was convinced she was trying to send messages from beyond the grave to him and his wife Betty. Grosse and Playfair came to believe it wasn't so much Peggy Hodgson's house that was haunted, but Janet herself, and to much a lesser extent, her older sister Margaret.
That makes a lot more sense since there was no reported activity before they moved in. And it seemed to happen all at once after the sisters played with the Ouija board.
They were teenagers, and you know what they say about teenage girls when it comes to the paranormal. It's like an open gateway for ghosts. This is a quote from Playfair. "One night, we had all gone out to visit Janet's uncle, a few doors away, and the ghostly tricks continued there. This is person-centered," Playfair explained. "It doesn't stay in the house, but follows Janet around."
It's definitely a poltergeist, not just a ghost.
Journalists and reporters weren't so sure and claimed the house had a very strange atmosphere, whether Janet was there or not, as if they were being watched by a malignant spirit. There were also accusations that the Hodgson family were staging an elaborate hoax, and Playfair and Gross were dismissed as gullible.
Kinda like the Amityville Horror.
Janet admitted in a TV interview in 1980 that she and her siblings tried to fake about 2% of the paranormal happenings. She says they felt pressured when so many visitors came to the house expecting to see something ghostly on demand.
You can't command a ghost to do something. They'll be chaotic when they choose to be. It's never on demand.
This is a quote from Playfair. "We caught them each time because we were watching for trickery. They would try to bend spoons. They tried to hide my tape recorder so I would think the poltergeist had moved it. But they didn't realize it was switched on, so I heard every word of their plot. But too many other things happened that could not be faked. Usually there were too many witnesses. What about all the things that happened in empty rooms when the kids were somewhere else? What about all the things I saw and heard? And the police officers? Children couldn't have fooled so many people, all of whom wanted to find a rational, earthly explanation for what was happening." End of quote. As for the spooky voices coming out of Janet's mouth, the psychic investigators devised their own tests. With Janet and her mother's agreement, the girl's mouth was filled with water before being taped up to prevent her speaking. Yet the voices still came out, and afterwards, all the water was still in her mouth. Maurice Gross offered $1,000, $6,500 today, to anyone who could replicate the voices by ventriloquism or any other form of trickery, but no one took up this challenge. Finally, Playfair invited 2 psychic medium friends to see what they could make of these hauntings. This is a direct quote from Playfair. They came to the house and almost immediately made contact with the poltergeist. It took them 15 minutes of talking to him calmly, and the effect was remarkable. The nastiness died down at once, and Janet went to sleep for about 14 hours. The first uninterrupted sleep she had in nearly 2 years. After that, there was very little trouble. End of quote. After all of that happened, life at the house in Green Street returned to normal for the Hodgsons. Peggy, who had refused to move, even when things got so bad that the family would huddle together in fear, remained there until her death in 2003. Janet left home at 16, married, and moved to Essex. She prefers to stay out of the limelight, saying she doesn't want to rake up those traumatic events. "I'm still in touch with her," says Playfair, "but I respect that she doesn't want any more fussing."
This episode is brought to you by
Looking for a reputable notary republic at an affordable price? Well, look no further. Mrs. Ashley Lutchman is now taking appointments and accepting new clients. Jesse and I needed some documents to sign for our podcast.
We wanted someone with experience who was well known and didn't cost a fortune.
That's right. One of our good friends had worked with Mrs. Lutchman regarding some legal paperwork they needed notarized and recommended her to us.
She was professional, efficient, and affordable.
If you need important documents notarized, email Ashley Lutchman at ashleylutchman@gmail.com. Ashley Lutchman can be found on Instagram and TikTok. I will link her socials and her email in our show notes.
Ashley Lutchman is remote and commissioned in the state of Florida.
I believe some of this was fake and some of it was real.
I'm in agreement with you on that one.
I have a fun fact for you.
What's that?
The Enfield haunting paranormal events were so extraordinary that it went on to become the storyline of the 2016 Hollywood movie The Conjuring 2. Joining the likes of The Exorcist, The Conjuring 2 captivated the attention of movie watchers worldwide and was the most successful horror picture of that year.
That is a fun fact. I didn't know that.
You learn something new from me every day.
I sure do. Let me just say, behind the Hollywood gloss of this haunting tale we told, a chilling question still lingers.
What's that?
What truly transpired within the walls of that unassuming North London dwelling? How much of the Hodgson's tale is rooted in the cold, hard soil of truth, and how much has been twisted and contorted into a macabre tapestry fiction, a phantom echo of the real horror. The shadows themselves seem to hold their breath, waiting for an answer.
Whoa, Mom. You just got very disturbingly poetic.
Why, thank you so very much. Do you know what's coming up?
What's that?
Our bloopers!
Blah, 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 blah. Bloopers! That's the best part of our show.
So stick around after our announcements. Our bloopers are a great way to laugh after hearing us speak about spooky and sometimes hard topics. It's a chance for all of you out there to hear the most embarrassing moments and all the mistakes that happen during the recording of this show.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have. Thanks for tuning in. If you have a spooky story and would like to have it read on air, please write us at milkshakesghost@gmail.com. If you would like to follow our socials, we're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, Twitter, and Patreon.
If you would like to become a Patreon member, please visit patreon.com/milkshakesandghosts. I will link it in the show notes along with all of our other socials.
Join Patreon for free gifts and cool perks.
Let's give a shout out to our awesome, amazing Patreon members! Mr.E from Special Delivery Show. Check out the Special Delivery Show. His podcast takes interviews to a whole new level. I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors. Sinister Brew Coffee, where every sip reminds you that the dark side is delicious. Wicked Salem's Candle. So good, it's scary. Kona Coffee House LV, Hawaiian coffee delivering a taste of paradise. ASHLEYLUTCHMAN, a reputable notary republic at an affordable price. All of our sponsors are listed in our show notes along with links to contact them. I'd also like to give a big shout out to PsychoFiend13. He posts really cool content and has weekly lives with some amazing people. Go give him a follow. I will link his TikTok account in our show notes.
MNG VIP members also include Luna the Darkness, Hidden Shadows, Lynn's Horrorscape, Eric Gonzalez, Jenna424, Richard Waltz, Casey's Spooky Stories, Dracula's Occult, Darren Willis, Death Rock 1875, Electric 222, Clara Jones, John and Jenna, Mothman Prophecy 424, Vampires Rock 222, The Blonde Happenings of Kelli and Brenda, Witches for Life 1892, Bigfoot is Real 76, Bloodsucker 95, Nightmares 888, Witchy Talk 65, Dracula Rock 62, Tina and Ruben, Ramos 1972, Bruce All Spooky, Harmony, Joan of Arc, The Dark Side, Ronald H, Joe Santana, Myra Miles from That's So Spooky, Jetta Kimura H, Tony S, Gita from The Truth Is Out There, Nadia and Edward, Colin, Becca, Mandy and Kindness, Jules and Christina, Joel from The Paranormal Countdown, Alan, Death Star 1, Maxine, Tara Screams, Jules M, Victor and Myra, Haunted Canadian History, Melissa and Dan, The Truth Is Out There with Carly and Allison.
Thank you all so much for being Patreon members. We appreciate each and every single one of you, sincerely from the bottom of our hearts.
And remember, keep drinking milkshakes.
And keep being spooky! It's time for bloopers!
It's a great day. We're snacking in the pod lab. And we're about to talk about my favorite thing. Go! I'm joking on spit.
Too many gummy worms. It's usually only available... I can't talk right.
You better go! You better go! Loser! Yeah, that's definitely not a straight A body. Anyway, he sure is. You probably don't understand that.
Girl, we've been in here over an hour.
I know, we're having fun!
I know, but...
It was rumbling like a cave was falling. That was a knee slapper.
Stop!
You see his eyes widen?
I was like, what is that noise?
It's spooky season, 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 it's spooky season, it's spooky season, 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 spooky season.